Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. It is 2 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. As usual, as we're doing these presentations, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to put them in the chat or just unmute and ask. Otherwise, there will be some time at the end of the presentation, and we can answer any questions at that point. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. So our topic today is this idea of co-managed IT. And what we want to do is just explore the different opportunities that are available for companies like ours to help IT directors and IT managers like yourselves who have a very difficult job. So first, just a little bit about Paragus. First and foremost, one of the things that we always like to highlight is that we are an employee-owned company. That means that 40% of our company is actually owned by the employees themselves. A bit more about who we are. We've been around for just about 15 years, and we support companies up and down the Pioneer Valley, ranging from all sorts of industries and sizes. In total, there's about 150 companies that count on us to be either their entire IT department or to help supplement their internal IT department and provide them the support and services that they need. The other thing that we always like to talk about is this concept of making IT fun. And I think for many of our IT directors out, especially right now, that idea seems foreign. Work is probably pretty stressful, work is probably pretty crazy, but we passionately and genuinely believe that there is a way to make it easier, more seamless, more engaged, and to try to make your jobs easier and, dare I say, fun. And one of the ways that we do that is we've broken our company into 4 distinct departments. We have one department focused exclusively on providing on-demand support, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later. We have another division entirely working on security and compliance, another division working on IT as a strategy, and then finally a division focused on business automation. We think of these as the 4 pillars of IT. We believe that any organization that wants to cover all their bases when it comes to IT needs to be working in all 4 of these arenas, rather. And then we think of projects as kind of being the foundation of those 4 pillars, a department full of project managers who are dedicated to helping our clients navigate complex IT projects that often involve lots of different vendors and technologies and deadlines and users. So enough about Paragus. Now let's talk a little bit more about what we're here today to discuss. Being the IT director is a tough job. More so than ever, our networks have gotten insanely complicated. This is what a network looked like not that long ago. It was all in one building. You know, you had the internet connected to a modem, connected to a firewall, and from there, you had your wireless, you had your switches, your servers, your workstations. It all seems so simple when we look back on it now. Now, our networks look more like this. These insanely complex interwoven maps where services are in the cloud, services are local, users are buying services on their own that IT doesn't even know about. You've got remote management and things like Intune and Autopilot. You've got RMMs and SOCs. It has just grown to such a high degree of complexity that it's becoming harder and harder to manage it all. On top of it, IT is much deeper into the organization than it used to be. The footprint of IT was relatively limited 10 years ago. Now it's everywhere, from the CRM and the ERP, getting into things like business intelligence and marketing automation. Communication has taken off with so many different platforms to have communication. On the social side, we've got all different social platforms. We have mobile devices that have to be managed. HR has become totally digitized. We've got digital file systems, asset management, CMS. It just goes on and on about how broad the IT spectrum has come. And with all of that in mind, everybody, every end user, every CEO, every board, they want the IT department to do all 7 of these things. It's got to be secure. We have to focus on productivity. We've got to become more efficient. We have to always be up and have constant continuity. We want access everywhere, anytime. We need to scale up and grow. And on top of all that, we have to be compliant. So it's not pick one, it's not pick two, it's pick seven. And we have to do all of this, keeping in mind this massive acceleration growth in technology. You look at how quickly and how fast IT is changing, it's really, really hard. This is often the way I like to think about it. Which brings us to the point of today's webinar. Being that IT director, IT manager, IT coordinator, whatever the title is, it's a tough job. Everybody is coming to you with their problems, their opportunities, their issues, their demands, their requests, and you're trying to juggle and manage all of that. And that's what we're here to do and how we want to help. Between providing advice, support, assistance, and guidance, we feel that there's a lot of ways that we can help make your jobs easier. I want to be clear though, we do not want to come in as a threat. For our job is not to take over your job. We feel very strongly that our IT directors, managers, coordinators that we work with play such a pivotal and crucial role in that organization, one that we honestly couldn't do even if we wanted to. And so our job is to be there to help support and provide assistance and guidance to make your job easier. So how do we do that? How can we help you succeed in your role? Well, sometimes you might need some help with your security posture. You might be looking for somebody to help think about the things that you're not thinking about, to help do analysis or scans or monitoring, to help provide insight or input into what are the latest threats, or to help provide response and remediation when there is a major issue or incident. Sometimes you just need some extra hands. You're just looking to keep up with the day-to-day workload, and maybe there's more tickets in the queue than you can handle, or there's a big project that requires extra people on the ground, or you just need some extra assistance to get through the workload. Sometimes we're here to help offload projects. Maybe you've got a project board of things that you wish you could get done that people are looking to have completed, but you just haven't been able to find the time to research the appropriate solution, get the right equipment, talk to the right vendors, go through the implementation and migration plan, get the end users on board, do the training, and get it completed. And sometimes you just want to know that there's someone who you can call who's going to know your network and who's going to care as much as you do. Not some nameless, faceless 800 number where you're going to be talking to somebody who's in a call center, but an actual person who you know personally, who cares about you, your business, and your network, and is there to be there for you when you're stuck, have an issue, or are feeling overwhelmed. Or maybe you need some help making a case for additional budget or resources. Many times, IT directors or IT managers find that they don't have the budget or resources they need, and they want some assistance in putting together a presentation or the data or the credibility needed to unlock those resources to truly accomplish the goals that the business is trying to achieve. Whatever the request is, whatever it is you're looking for, our job is to be there to have your back. So we're going to spend the rest of this presentation diving into the different services that we can provide and exactly how they work. So first, this is an overview of the 7 different services that Paragus provides to in-house IT departments as an outside provider. All of these services can be at your disposal or just the ones that you need. The way our business model is designed is really so that you can pick and choose the products and services that your department needs and apply those to complete the picture. So we'll start with our 24/7 support for either your IT staff or your end users or both. We'll provide you and your company a custom phone number so that when you call, we can route your number to exactly the right people within our organization. You will have access to our team 24/7 and 365 days a year. You will be connected to a team who has access to comprehensive documentation on your network. We will know as much as we possibly can so that we can jump in and help and not ask silly questions. Amongst all of our staff, you will have access to hundreds of years of combined experience across our 50 full-time employees and all the different technology platforms and clients that we support. We have subject matter experts in almost anything that you can throw at us. Oftentimes, those subject matter experts are certified by the vendors and carry those certifications and renew them every single year. You'll have access to additional vendor support if needed. So many times when you're trying to call Microsoft or Dell or one of these other vendors, you're given 1-800 number. Partners like us have access to entirely different avenues for support that we can unlock tier 3 support much faster. And importantly, you can choose when, where, and how you use us. Whether we're just there for emergencies, whether we're just there to provide support to the IT staff, whether we do your end user support when you are busy or on vacation, or whether you just want to flip over the end user support to us on certain days of the week when you have other priorities or obligations you need to attend to. Our model is really designed to be flexible and scalable so that we can provide the support you need when you need it and how you need it. The next category is our routine maintenance and preventative action plans. We will work with you to develop daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual tasks that our staff will do on behalf of your network. From cleaning up your Active Directory to running scripts to applying patches and updates to updating firmware, we will do all the things that need to get done on set schedules so that you can set it and forget it and not have to worry about those tasks. We can also handle the monitoring for things like your backups, managing your servers, your directory structure, your firewall, your host, your endpoints, all of the things that oftentimes get neglected because you're busy. We can also provide routine assessments and scans. So every single quarter, month, or year, we can scan for different things, whether it be network vulnerabilities, users that haven't been disabled, shares that are being shared with the wrong people, issues with your SharePoint implementation, challenges with the way your mail records are configured. Whatever it is, we will look for the problems and then help you identify the solution. And we can do all this with reports, dashboards, and analytics that help you see what we see and know that everything is being taken care of so that ultimately you can have complete peace of mind. The next category we'll spend some time talking about is flexible capacity and resources for projects or emergencies. The way this works is our team can be available to be smart hands for your team. We can be there for doing an on-site at a location that you don't have access to or need to get somebody to right away. We can be there on a major deployment project when you're rolling out workstations or doing an update and just need more boots on the ground than you normally would have. We can provide expertise in specialized projects that maybe you haven't done before and don't want to learn how to do because you're probably never going to do them again. We can provide trainings and education to your end users, making sure that they have the knowledge and information needed so that when those technology solutions are implemented, they don't feel left behind. And finally, we do all of this in a collaborative approach. Our goal isn't to come in and take over and do everything. We work with you to figure out on a major project, what role would you like us to play? What role would you and your team like to play? And how can we best work together for the most efficient and best solution that's going to bring the technology to your end users? The next category we'll look at are having access to the best tools in the market. Oftentimes, internal IT departments don't have access to the same tool sets that an outside consultant is going to have. From having really incredibly powerful remote monitoring and management tools, to being able to apply patches to workstations and servers, to having the best in the business documentation systems that can be automatically fed by real-time applications and APIs, to having access to a ticketing system if your company doesn't currently have one or you're using one that doesn't suit your needs, to providing things like cybersecurity testing and training for your end users, to providing a security monitoring service like a SOC, where we're providing 24-hour human being monitoring of your entire network. We can also provide tools like single sign-on to try to improve the user experience and reduce the number of steps. We can provide email filtering and email security services, email encryption services, as well as best in the business disaster recovery and business continuity solutions, and even things like your Microsoft 365 licenses so that you don't have to worry about managing those, buying the right licenses, and disabling and keeping up with licenses that you no longer need. The next category we'll talk about is our remote or on-site support options. So through national partners that we have, we can be anywhere in the United States within 48 hours. And in most cases for metropolitan cities, we can be there within under 12 hours. This allows us to help our clients when they have acquisitions or locations that are not near their headquarters and they need boots on the ground to troubleshoot a problem or to be smart hands. In the Western Mass region, we have the largest department for any outsourced IT company, which means we have more resources who are going to be available to take your calls, to come on site, or to handle whatever the problem is that you're dealing with. And then finally, we believe that response times need to be guaranteed. So all of our response times are measured by the number of users that are impacted and by the impact that that issue is having on your users. Based on those two variables, you'll know exactly how quickly our team is going to respond, and we will work very hard to always exceed those expectations. The next thing I want to talk just briefly about is our fully managed monitoring and security offering. These days, there's more and more pressure to monitor everything, to constantly know what's going on with your network 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We have a number of different solutions that we can offer that can help you achieve that goal. Then you can choose for what's being monitored, who's going to be alerted and when. So just because we're providing the monitoring solution and technology doesn't mean that it has to be our staff who are alerted. In some cases, it's the internal IT department that wants to be alerted first. And if they don't respond, they then want us to be alerted. In many cases, it's the opposite. Our staff are notified first and the internal IT department is notified second. And in some cases, we can alternate. So let's say, for example, you want to take a 2-week vacation and you would like us to be alerted for the next 2 weeks so that you can actually unplug and disconnect. We can accomplish that and then swap it back when you come back from that vacation. We can also set it up so that we can automatically act where appropriate. So for example, if we get notified that there's a problem, we're not just going to call you and tell you there's a problem. In many cases, we can just step in and solve the problem. Security monitoring services that just alert you to the problem are great, but they're not nearly as beneficial as somebody who's going to know your network, know what needs to be done, and take action to address the problem without overstepping and causing additional problems because they made assumptions about your network. We also can do things like assist with log aggregation, which can be very helpful either from a compliance standpoint or when trying to identify the source of an issue after it's happened. And all of this is ultimately designed to create peace of mind for you and your team so that you know there's somebody else keeping an eye on the network and not everything falls and relies on you. And then finally, the last section we'll talk about today is our focus on compliance resources. These days, organizations are dealing with more IT compliance than ever. You've got different state data privacy laws, like the Massachusetts 201 CMR 17 law. And then you've got the California Consumer Protection Act. And those are just two of the 37 states that have enacted some sort of consumer protection or data privacy law. In addition to those, you've got HIPAA, GDPR, NIST, CMMC, FINRA, and SOX, and many others. And on top of that, there's talk of the federal government creating a national cybersecurity standard, something that is probably long overdue. And now that it's finally coming, is not going to be the end all be all solution, but rather just one more technology compliance that we have to deal with. It's a lot to keep track of on top of trying to deal with the day-to-day resources to try to meet expectations, deliver new solutions, and support end users. So we have experts standing by that can help you with any of these things, whether you just need to do your annual audit, whether you have a significant number of items that need to be remedied, whether you're trying to write your plan of action for your CMMC compliance, or whether you're at the very beginning and you don't even know which organizations you need to be compliant with or what you need to do to become compliant. We have a number of people and resources that we can use to help you on that compliance journey, both to get to where you want to be and then to maintain that compliance on an ongoing basis. So the next question is, how does it work? Now that we've kind of understood the different service offerings that Paragus can provide, how do we deliver those services to the IT departments that we support? Well, first and foremost, we are not believers in a one-size-fits-all solution. Many of our competitors in the marketplace are going to try to approach this from a per seat, per user, per device type model. We don't believe that that's the right solution. If we're going to be your partner, we need to provide a partnership that's dynamic and gives you what you need, when you need it, and how you need it. In our experience, very few of our engagements with internal IT departments are the same. In every case, they tend to have different expertise in-house, different solutions, different problems, different needs, and therefore they need us to be a slightly different partner, and we need to be able to adapt and adhere to that. It's also true that those needs will often change. Either somebody will leave, some will get promoted, there'll be a new technology that needs to be implemented, a new project that needs to be implemented, and what we need to be as a partner is going to shift and change as that happens. The other thing is that there's a lot of companies out there whose outsourced co-managed offering is really a bait and switch. What they're doing is they're hoping to get into the organization, get their hooks in there, get their software installed, get enough control of the network that they can make a use case to have the IT department fully outsourced. And not that there aren't companies and businesses out there that an outsource strategy does make sense, but the clients that we work with have already explored that, and they've identified that there is a great use case for an internal IT department. Our goal and objective in supporting that department is not to replace them. As I said at the beginning of this presentation, we want to be there to support, enable, and empower those individuals, not remove them. And so at Paragus, what we've decided to do is do things a little bit differently. Ultimately, our goal is that we want to complete the puzzle. IT these days, as we talked about a little bit ago, is a very complex puzzle. From cloud services to continuity to productivity to efficiency to compliance to security, there is so much going on. And what we find with the clients that we work with is that they typically have many, if not close to all of the pieces in-house. But there's usually some piece that they need some help with. Our job is to come in and be that missing piece, or in some cases, the missing pieces, in order to help ultimately complete the picture. So we do that through a 3-tiered offering. The first tier is where we can provide standby support. In this plan, what we're doing is we're there to have resources ready at the go to provide whatever is needed on a day-to-day basis. This could be providing end user support directly to your staff. It could be providing support specifically and exclusively to your IT department, or it could be some of each. As we talked about earlier, how and when that works can change as often as it needs to. But basically, you know that you've got a team standing by who's ready to step in and help out with whatever is needed on a day-to-day basis. The second tier is designed exclusively for businesses that want to just outsource projects. They've got the help desk on their hand. They know what they're doing from a strategy standpoint. But when it comes to implementing and executing projects, they need some help. Either they want somebody to help design those projects, implement those projects, manage those projects, or all of the above. And our projects team offering is designed to help businesses out with doing all of those things. But rather than doing it transactionally, where we come in to just do a project and then leave, our model is designed so that we have an ongoing engagement with your company so that we always know what's going on in your business. We know your network inside and out so that when we do spin up on a project, we can do so quickly and with a much higher degree of success and satisfaction. And then finally is our IT partner program. The IT partner program is the best of standby support and projects team combined with some additional strategy overlaid. In this program, we can be exactly what you need us to be when you need us to be it. We can be there to provide that standby support. We can help out with projects, and we can also be there to take over monthly recurring maintenance tasks so that your team can focus on the things that they want to focus on. Beyond that, we will also overlay some strategy. We'll work with you to evaluate how you're using technology, what products and platforms and solutions you're using, how your security is designed, and make recommendations and identify opportunities to make improvements. And unlike our competitors, we give you complete control of how much our service is going to cost you. Rather than charging you by a seat or by a device or by user, the way our model works is that you put us on retainer for as much or as little support as you need. Not only that, but you can then change the size of that retainer as often as every month. And anytime you don't use your hours, they automatically roll over from 1 month to the next month. This way you can choose how to use us and when to use us without the fear of sunk cost, wasted investments, or support going unused. So if you're ready to learn more, the next step in our process is to schedule a call with one of our salespeople. What we'll do during that call is we'll get to know more about your organization, what you're looking for, and how we can best help. If it isn't the right fit, we will be the first to tell you. We have no interest at all in creating engagements with businesses where we don't truly believe we can add value. If it is the right fit, then we'll set up a second meeting where we'll put together a proposal and review it with you so you can see exactly how the relationship would work. And with that, I'm going to officially open it up for questions if there's anything that we didn't cover that people want to know more about. So I've got one question here that just says, do we do security monitoring? So yes, one of the services that we can provide through the IT partnership program is several different layers of security monitoring. At the highest level, you can get a SOC service. SOC service is a collaborative partnership between us and another vendor where our staff are monitoring your network during business hours and their staff are monitoring your network after hours. At all times, you have real live human beings looking at alerts that are happening in your network and detecting behavior. Now, I will say all of those services are only as good as the products that are feeding them the data. And what I mean by that is if you're not using something like an EDR antivirus, the amount of logs and information that's going to be reviewed is going to be limited. If you've got really good firewalls and you're using EDR, the chances of you noticing something happening are going to be much, much greater than if we're just doing things like monitoring your 365 tenant in your traditional legacy antivirus. There's another question here about if we have experts in any Microsoft products. Yes, we do. So we've got almost every Microsoft product. They change the SKUs and the names so often. But on both the cloud side and the on-premise side, we maintain a significant number of Microsoft certified professionals on our staff. One of the things that we've spent a lot of time getting certified in recently is all the Microsoft automation tools. So Power Automate, Power BI, Power Apps, and helping our clients to take their data that they've got on 365 and their workflows and their team environment and create automations, approvals, workflows, and processes within that 365 tenant. Any other questions? All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you want to know more, we are more than happy to help you. So thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.